There we go. And great. Here we are. We're getting the technology down.
Okay.
Every single time. Good. Okay, so welcome everybody. Those of you all that are listening in, this is Let's Talk Kathak, and today we have with us Bhairavi Kumarji, and I'm super excited to be able to have this conversation with you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having us over here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been doing with everybody else. I'm going to just jump right in, dive right. I am wondering if we could start with just how your beginning was in Kathak dance. You know, what drew you to the art form, and what was your early training like?
So, to be honest with you, every time I dance, I connect with something deeper than myself. And it's been like this forever. So, my parents used to tell me that as soon as I heard the faintest sound of a beat or a rhythm, my legs would start tapping. And so, fortunately, my parents noticed this very early on, and they were the one who decided and encouraged me to study dance in a professional setting. The amazing part hai ki they had such an astute observation and foresight to put me in a professional setting, which is Sangeet Mahabharati in Mumbai.
Okay.
See, देखो, you are talking about those times when the girls of the Gujarati household, especially, were frowned upon by the society whenever we learned or we danced professionally. So basically, to have that kind of a conviction and to brave themselves into doing what was in my best interest, I think I would be certainly very grateful and eternally be, uh, you know. So uh, I would say even my brother too at that time, his job was to pick up and drop off me to Sangeet Mahabharati every single day. And he did it without a fuss. And sometimes I think he had to wait for several hours, but so here you see my Kathak beginning was a collective effort, and this is the way the seed was planted. So, and my early training in Sangeet Mahabharati was the place where my passion leapfrogged. I quickly have started classes from once or twice a week, went into classes 6 times a week. And so, what if it was not Kathak classes? I went and sat in Tuli Didi's class. I listened to her vocal. I went to sit Nayan Dada's class. I was listening to sitar, or I would go and listen to a tabla session. See, so basically, I sought every opportunity to immerse myself in this rhythmic environment. And I think I was very fortunate that I got such a mahol, such an environment. And in my institution, there was performance every month. So even if I was not dancing, I was being exposed to the best in the industry.
Right.
And every performance left me with craving for more. So, uh, so much that I even took up sitar under Nayan Dada, Nayan Ghosh, and finished my degree in it. And I think I would consider myself very lucky and fortunate to have such a strong foundation very early on.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a very unique upbringing and a very immersive upbringing in the art form.
Yes.
So not only were you training and studying, going to a Kathak class, but you were listening to music and seeing concerts, and it sounds heavenly, actually.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And I think it's one thing to be able to take Kathak or any kind of Indian classical dance or music form as a child. And then it's another thing to take it on and begin to teach, begin to perform, and begin to be a real ambassador for the art form.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to ask you, what led you to make that decision and start doing that work here in Southern California? Like what led you to say, no, you know what, I want to take on that responsibility?
Yeah. So let me even talk about my guru, which
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely would like to mention. My early training was under Shivani Pandyaji, a disciple of Lachu Maharaji of the Lucknow Gharana. But I think the asli magic happened when I started learning Kathak under my guru, Srimati Uma Dogra.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so her mentorship was pivotal in shaping my journey. And she not only taught the technical, but also the storytelling aspect. And her teachings were innovative and traditional at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, she transformed the dancer in me into a performing artist.
Mm-hmm.
And all in all, dance just became my, more than a hobby for me. It became my sanctuary,
Mm-hmm.
the place where I could just lose myself in music.
Mm-hmm.
And without even uttering a word, would say many things.
Mm-hmm.
So I could communicate with anyone without even uttering a word. And uh, as coming to the next question that you had asked me about my work and why I started work over here. So when I first came here in Southern California, see, I was rooted. I have my Desi roots. So when I came in this country, I uh, I didn't know anything about its cultural landscape. So Kathak to dur ki baat hai. But as I settled into my new home, I miss Kathak. I miss the environment I was in. तो वो जो माहौल था वहाँ पे, I missed it. And तभी I realized that my desire to share it with the community. See, so here I was nothing but with passion. My guru was also not here. So nothing but passion driving me. I began teaching to students in a humble studio space. And it was a very modest beginning, but I poured my heart and soul into it. I gave it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think by word of mouth, interest grew in Kathak, and I basically seized every opportunity to showcase my art form in museums, like perform for LACMA and Pacific Asia Museum several times, and SAP Arena for our Prime Minister Modi, and so on. A lot of festivals and so on. You know, so try to do that. I gradually even expanded my school. What started with just two kids became an academy.
Yeah.
So yeah, so today NKA, that is Nrityodaya Kathak Academy, it boasts a vibrant and diverse student body, and with students of all ages and backgrounds coming together celebrating this art form. So my journey had its fair share of challenges and triumph, but I think it was a journey filled with joy and fulfillment.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's I understand. I can relate to what you said because I also, when I was with my Guruji in the Bay Area, there was that mahal, there was an
Yeah,
environment.
exactly.
And then when I came to Southern California, like similar to you, all I had was my kind of passion and I missed that. I really missed that environment and wanted to recreate it for myself and others. So I can understand. And, I want to ask you a little bit about, because, we are teaching Kathak, which is an Indian classical dance form in the West.
Mhm.
So we have to, number one, perform for all kinds of audiences, Indian audiences, Western audiences. And then also we have to teach students who are growing up far away from India.
Yeah.
So in many ways, we have to do a lot of translation,
Mhm.
cultural
Mhm.
translation. And I just want to ask you, how do you navigate that? How do you deal with students who, don't have a connection to India? How do you deal with non-Indian audiences and communicating the form to them?
Yeah, so that's a great question. See, there is a certain amount of finesse required to bridge the gap between tradition and unfamiliar audiences.
Mhm,
So now, as performers and educators, our duty is not only to teach the technical aspect, but also to rather uh, make them aware about our rich history, cultural significance, and spiritual essence,
mhm,
right? It's important. Yeah. So, one primary challenge is striking balance between preserving culture or preserving the authenticity and even making it relatable and accessible to the diverse audience.
mhm,
So we have to find creative ways. And for me, I think productions, performances assist in this process.
mhm,
And it is very satisfying to see on a student's face, this tihai is applied in this piece in this manner. So because when we learned our curriculum based, we'll learn 10 tukdas, we'll learn 10 tihais, 10 ladis, but how does it all come together and
mhm,
how do we perform? So it's very fascinating for the students to see that, you see.
mhm,
And I think through interactions with diverse audience, I myself has encountered insights sometimes, and which have actually enriched my own understanding for Kathak.
mhm,
See, I example like Maharaji has this one tihai, he tries to teach it. Tata theita theita tata thei, you know, ये करके पूरी तिहाई है. But he taught it to the little children in the format sabzi puri और कचौरी हलवा लाते रे. So we have to very delicately
mhm,
balance preserving tradition and even embracing innovation,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
And we have to go find creative ways to bridge this cultural divides.
Yeah.
It is dynamic. It is dynamic that challenges and inspires simultaneously.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really good point that you made, because sometimes trying to address a challenge
Mhm.
brings out innovation and experimentation. When you are faced with an obstacle, and the process of having to overcome it will create something really new. And I agree. Tradition and innovation are not opposed. You actually have to do both, right? My Guruji would always
Correct.
say, like, innovation within the ring fence of the tradition. So,
Yeah,
uh,
because Kathak is an evolving dance. Yeah.
yeah, and it's never been static. And I think a lot of people, when they think of the word tradition, it has the connotation that it's old or it's static. But
Yeah. Mhm.
Gatheg has always been evolving to,
Exactly.
yeah, to meet the times.
Right, right.
Yeah. And, I want to ask you a little bit about some of the aspects of Kathak dance that I feel are being, we don't get to see as much these days. So one of them is working with live music. So,
Mhm.
Kathak traditionally, as you grew up and mentioned, traditionally Kathak and Hindustani classical music go hand in hand together.
Yeah.
And in modern times here in the West, number one, a lot of the artists have budget constraints. And
Yeah.
so you can't always work with live music. And there aren't tons and tons of live musicians of the newer generations that have the experience of working with Kathak dance. And that's also a specific skill set. So I want to ask you, how do you navigate working with live music or not having resources to work with live music, and yet trying to preserve that aspect of the form.
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. Traditional dance, Kathak solo is done with it's a solo dance done with live music, and there is a constant interaction between the dancer, the dialogue going on with the dancer and the musician, especially the tabla player.
Mhm.
Correct. So, and I think that is the time when even improvisation
Yep.
plays a very crucial role, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, what happens when we listen to recorded music? We listen through our ear,
Mhm.
but when we listen to live music, we listen with our heart.
Yeah.
Correct?
And
Yeah.
our full body. It's a full
Yeah.
body
Full
experience.
body. Exactly. So, you're right by saying that contemporary trends have seen departure from traditional format, and a lot of dancers are dancing to recorded music and group choreography. But I'll tell you why. We must also understand that sometimes it becomes necessary to adapt and accommodate, especially when it comes to Indian classical dance outside India.
Hmm. Mhm.
Budget constraint, and there's so many challenges that you face. Access to skilled musician. I remember when I was in the 80s, I came here in the 80s, late 80s,
Mhm.
and we didn't have access to so many musicians that time. Now, yeah, they are more flourishing. Yeah. So uh, even cost, fees, visa fees to get them here, everything, we need the support and infrastructure, you see. And even in America, insurance cost. And sometimes there is a language and communication barrier also.
Yep.
So it's not that these artists wants to perform only with recorded music, but sometimes they're left with no choice.
Mhm. Yeah.
See, and at the root of it, it's cost, financials, and but I think now the world is getting smaller, and I think things will change, and I'm very optimistic about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And are you able to work, like introduce, because, again, those of us that trained with live music have one training, but we're now teachers. So are you able to expose your students to working with live music? Are you able to bring guest musicians in, or is it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, 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 yes. We have done several productions since 80s, which were all live music. Sometimes we had to take help of recorded ones if
Mhm.
we are doing like a theme like Jungle Book.
Mhm.
So we needed all kinds of acoustics.
Yeah.
So at that point, I thought it was best to do it the other way,
Mhm.
because no matter, I can't get 50 musicians to get that kind of acoustics. So yeah, I think in August I'm having a tabla player come in. Mayuk is coming, and we are doing a workshop with him. My guruma is coming in September. We are doing a workshop with her too.
Good, good.
So yeah, we keep doing. Last year we did a show with Rajendra Gangani ji,
Mhm.
and me and my disciples, we all were with live musicians. So we definitely, and I personally, I try not to put recorded music. If anything, I would try to put the talmala.
Mhm. Mhm.
At least it's not as recorded.
Yeah.
So if you go off, you know that you are going off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And you touched a little bit upon improvisation. And, that's another aspect of the form that I feel we see less and less. Again, you need live music, and you need safe spaces. Like learning to improvise is an entirely different skill set, to just learning the material. So are you able to pass on improvisation, teach improvisation? Is it challenging? How is it for you?
So you see, improvisation or extempo, or in Kathak we say upaj, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So this leads to a true feeling of expression, which is very spontaneous, right? And I think certain strong pillars are needed in order for a dancer to be able to do upaj. And that is like years and years of training under your guru. That is number one. And
Mhm.
then you need to have deep and thorough knowledge about rhythm.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and I would say even uh, intensive riyaz ya mehnat,
Mhm.
uske piche lag jao, like uh, every time you do the same thing, but you will come up to something different.
Mhm.
And mastery of fundamentals of a tala. So
Yep.
the structure of a tal, it
Yep.
should be embedded in you. You shouldn't be thinking about it. It should be there in you,
Yep.
and once it is there, it will just flow.
Yep.
Yeah. So basically, experiencing live music constantly on and on will get you there. So it is not, according to me, it is not something which is taught. See, making a tihai ya palta, it is creativity.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
I think improvisation is like spontaneous. And with that being said, I think spontaneous can also be, upaj can also be in abhinay.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah. And with that, I would like to share you incident which happened. And when I was young, I went to see a Kathak show.
Mhm.
And what happened is the dancer was supposed to portray a Shringaras.
Mm.
And while she was dancing, one of her earrings fell off on stage.
Mhm.
Yeah. So one of her earrings fell off on stage, and and she's doing Shringarpi. So it was so amazing and beautiful to see how subtly she found that earring and put it on. And the audience was in awe. Like, oh my God. I mean, they thought this was part of the routine, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
So there was no glitch to it.
Yeah.
It was so spontaneous, right? So upaj in abhinay only comes with experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And, so we talked a little bit about kind of like traditional Kathak, but I want to move to, Kathak is one of the few classical forms, although all of them have made their way into Bollywood films in some
Mhm.
shape, but Kathak particularly has a relationship with Bollywood. And, there's very traditional Kathak, and then there's also Kathak dance that leans towards kind of popular or Bollywoodized styles. And every teacher and every artist has a kind of different relationship with that line. And so I'm just curious for you, how do you navigate that line? And we certainly all know that we get students coming to us asking us to teach them Bollywood. We get performance requests for Bollywood. So how do you navigate that?
Okay, I don't teach Bollywood though, just to let you know. Yeah, but that I think it is inevitable, because let me explain. See, Kathak is a Sanskrit word derived from the word katha, which means story, and Kathak is the art of storytelling.
Mhm.
So you see why I'm saying it is inevitable, right? Huh. So now this Natya or the Abhinay portion of Kathak explores a wide range of emotions, and like love, longing, spirituality, devotion, So Kathak dancers are able to transport the audience into a different world, which
Mhm.
evokes so many emotions.
Mhm.
And Bollywood likes emotional masalas, right? Yeah. So that being said, when it comes to the question of influence on Bollywood, I mean influence of Bollywood films over Kathak, it is a very tricky subject. On one hand, Bollywood has helped popularize Kathak to mainstream audiences. And must mention Pandit Birju Maharaj. What a crucial role he played
Mhm.
in taking it globally, right? See, he mesmerized the audience with his skill and artistry. But having said that, see, Kathak in Bollywood films prioritizes entertainment value over authenticity.
Mhm.
And I think so, unfortunately, many times the true essence of Kathak is lost.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think as a Kathak dancer or an educator, navigating this thin line between classical and pop needs a very careful approach.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I while I appreciate the visibility Bollywood film is giving to Kathak, I also, it is my duty to strive to uphold that integrity and to practice it in my teachings, in my performances, in my practice, you see. So, all in all, I think the influence of Bollywood films brings opportunities
Mhm.
and challenges, but we have to navigate this path with mindfulness, creativity, and I think most important, with respect.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's very well said. Very, very well said. And it's been lovely because a lot of the other artists that I've had have kind of spoken in a similar way that it's, it's tricky. It's
Yeah.
tricky. Um, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the kind of spiritual element of Kathak dance. And, there's a saying in Indian philosophy that, there are many spokes that lead to the center of the wheel, and the center of the wheel is the divine. And there's many paths to the divine. And certainly in our tradition, dance and music is considered a path to higher consciousness or to the divine. And not everybody approaches the art form that way. And it's also a difficult thing to teach. Um,
Yes.
so I wanted to ask you, is the spiritual element something that you explicitly work with in your own practice and in your teaching?
See, I would say dance in its purest form goes beyond physical realm and it becomes a profound spiritual experience. So, mere the body movements, it has the power to evoke sense of divine presence.
Mhm.
And I think, see, at its core, dance is a fluid dance.
Mhm.
Yeah. So one movement into the other seamlessly from the tip of the fingertips to the arches of the feet. Correct now. So and every part of it expresses a feeling.
Mhm.
And uh, I think Kathak dancers are trained to even do complex rhythms, and
Mhm.
they can go in and out of it without any problems. With a lot of ease, they can go in and out. है ना? So this helps the dancer tap into subtle energies and
Mhm.
vibrations.
Mhm.
And I think this is the place where they connect with the spiritual essence of the stories and what they are portraying and evoking deeper sense, which is oneness, Advaita. है
Mhm.
ना? So I'll tell you how, See, uh, I think even chakkars assist in that process.
Mhm.
So when you take chakkars with precision, it becomes like meditative spinning. So you're
Mhm.
not taking just spins. You are actually doing representing a metamorphical journey of self discovery and spirituality. And I think in able when you are able to execute chakkars with precision, The dancer aligns himself or herself with the cosmic world or cosmic rhythm of the universe, rather.
Mhm.
And I think if you, and this will only happen if you practice it with that kind of integrity and devotion.
Absolutely.
Correct now. So it has to be in that format. And lastly, but not least, I think even music and instruments play a vital role. So music touches the soul, and the dancers feel it. They express it. They express those emotions in their performances. So ये spiritual नहीं है तो क्या है? You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, Sonal also mentioned the musical piece and how the music is a very important way to drop you into kind of your
Yeah.
heart and your soul. So,
Correct.
yeah. I wanted to ask a little bit about, the infrastructure and financial support or lack thereof for Kathak dance. And as many know, that this is a particular passion of mine.
Uh-huh.
Um, that it's very difficult to get support as a Kathak dancer. There's not it's not like there's tons of grants out there for Kathak dance
Yeah.
specifically. And there's just literally no financial infrastructure for the form. So how does that work for you? How do you make it all work financially? And what are some of the is it challenging for you? Is it not?
Yeah, I think it's challenging for everyone. Yeah. So, I think Kathak definitely would benefit from institutional support for the reason that I'm even so happy that you are doing this, and teachers like you and me coming together to for the same cause.
Mhm.
है ना? So at the root of all it is financing, money. And so I think we should establish some ways to some funding sources or grant programs to promote the art form. And another thing is ki Kathak also requires opportunities for performances.
Mhm.
Like India, every single day there is a performance.
Mhm.
That kind of opportunity should be created here for students as well as for professionals.
Mhm.
And so even I think artists should come together, collaborate, and make it a hub for artistic exchange
Mhm.
over here in SoCal.
Mhm.
And a lot of commitment needs to be done by seniors like ourselves. And for that, being, I would like to share that NKA have taken a step in this direction, and we just got approved for our non-profit organization, and which is LADS, LA Dance Synergy. We are currently working on the website, and most importantly, this is exactly our mission.
That's great. Yeah, no, it's congratulations on the nonprofit status and good luck.
Yeah.
We did our nonprofit very early, um, and that's also its own journey. And I was talking to Smita in our conversation. We were talking about how, it's one thing to be a performer, it's one thing to be a teacher, and then the nonprofit aspect is a whole kind of another third aspect of it. So, I think that I'm interested and curious to see how your journey with that piece goes. And, I agree, thank you for speaking to kind of, the need not only for financial support, but also the need for platforms, because
Yes.
artists need platforms where they can perform and share their art form. And kind of a follow-up question I had for you is like, if what's on your wish list, and like you said, the core of it is really financial. I really believe that. I mean, financial and leadership, But what is, like, if you could say, hey, I think these 2 or 3 things would be really important and they would just completely change the field of Kathak,
Mhm.
what's on your wish list?
Wish list. I have many wish lists.
It's a dangerous question.
Very dangerous question. I can lead you from here to there.
Top 2 or 3. Top 2 or 3 things. Just key things that you think would really make a difference.
Yeah, yeah. So I think, of course, all what we spoke, promoting Kathak, holding Kathak festivals here in Southern California.
Mhm.
I'm going for the New York Kathak Festival. I've been invited there to perform this year. So I want to create that kind of a mahol here, over here. This is my wish. And I will work very hard, and my team will work very hard towards this mission. That is one of them. Then even the other wish is to invite artists from all over to, you know uh, we don't get the authenticity we need over here, so we can easily invite tabla players to come and educate our school and do performances and so on, and even create a platform not only for Kathak dance but also for Kathak and music. It
Yes.
may be any kind of music because they are all kind of related to each other.
Yep.
See, so it
Absolutely.
is very important that we support the artists, the struggling artists. There are so many good artists and they struggle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And yeah, so, and even collaborate with different diverse communities and stuff like that. Yeah. So, top of that, 1, 2, and 3, I mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah. And, we've covered kind of a lot of ground. Um, is there anything else that I haven't asked that you want to share with kind of our listeners and our audiences? Is there a topic area that you feel we must, discuss today?
I think another thing is my inspirations, right?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I tell all my students there are 3 very important things in order to learn Kathak and or to be an artist. So, number one thing is passion and unending love for your art. Like nothing can take it away. So, not coming to America also can take it away, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Number two is strong work ethic.
Yeah.
Yeah, solid riyas, solid mehnat, the with the intensity, with that motivation and dedication you should do. That should not be forced in. It should come.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And a conducive environment,
Yeah.
which I already had, and my parents provided that for me. And while I was in that kind of an environment, there were many, many inspirations. Number one inspiration is my guru,
Yeah.
Srimati Madogra. Yeah. So, what a brilliant artist. I mean, I kept watching her day in, day out, and every little thing she did.
Yeah.
And as you even know, that our institution had performances every single month.
Yep.
And so getting exposed to the best over there, having such great artists perform in that place
Mhm.
was just a treat to us.
Yeah.
I had even gone and seen Pandit Birju Maharaj's house concert.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was very fortunate. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a platform that I have been, given by my parents.
Yeah.
And even after coming here, my husband was my rock. And even my daughters, both of them, uh, they had the first 2 qualities, and they are also in my performing troupe.
Mhm.
So I get inspiration every single day from them. My disciples, my students, everyone inspires me every single day in, day out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I really appreciate you talking about the environment, because
Yeah.
you can have passion and you can have a great work ethic, but
Yeah.
you can't do it alone. And
Will be found. Yeah.
the environment, whether the environment is really good students, fellow artists, musicians, dancers, others that are inspiring to you, supporters, audience members also, you need audience members who come and love what you do. They also inspire you,
Correct.
so that whole kind of ecosystem, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you need a full ecosystem in order for the art and the artist to kind of succeed and thrive.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And
Let's create that environment here.
yeah, it's been pretty heartwarming to see, because when I first moved to Southern California, gosh, it's now almost not yet 10 years, but it 10 years ago, there wasn't as much community.
No.
Um, there weren't as many artists, musicians, you
I
know,
get it. Yeah.
yeah, there weren't as many Kathak. And now it's really heartwarming to see that dancers actually know each other, teachers know each other, and
Yes.
just everybody's willingness to also come and talk on the series. Just that there's a real environment of openness happening, I think, in Southern
Correct.
California.
Correct. That's amazing. Just because of you, you got us all together.
No, I think everybody. I thank you for saying that, but I think it was like bubbling. It was ready for it. I think people have been wanting to come together, and people have
Yes.
been
Yeah.
wanting to talk. Um, and there's also a thriving musician community that's
Mhm.
bubbling up. Young musicians who really want to learn.
Yes.
When I was studying, there were a lot of musicians that would come to Guruji's class, uh,
Yes.
and
Yes.
they just wanted to come and accompany, and they were pursuing their own kind of study of the form. And when I first moved to LA, I noticed that there weren't any musicians that wanted to do that. They only would come if I had a performance, and if I was,
Yeah.
hey, nobody wanted to do riyaz for the fun of riyaz. Nobody wanted to study, but that's changing. It,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
really
That's
changing. I'm
amazing.
seeing.
Yeah. And
So it's
fortunately, even for me in India, every class had nagma and tabla. If it didn't have sitar or something, of course it didn't have, but nagma and tabla was like there every single class of ours, but that is India, right?
yeah,
So yeah, that is the whole thing. And you're also, you find tabla players, but you're also see there are certain tabla players who play with dance. They
yes,
not all tabla players play with dance.
yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
there is
yeah, and that's what we touched upon earlier. That
yeah,
to accompany dance is a particular skill, and
correct.
that also has to be cultivated and created. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I again, the environment piece, it's really going to stick with me, because I also, at Leela, in some ways I feel like, gosh, we've taken on too much, but we also have a performing company, we also teach, and then we're trying to do the endowment, because I really do believe in this kind of this ecosystem
Yeah.
that needs to be created.
Yeah, that's why for the longest time I didn't start my non-profit, because 20 years ago I wanted to,
Mhm.
but it's like, no, it's going to take it away from my dance. I don't want to do it. But I said no. I think I'm now ready to do it, because I think we all need support here for Kathak. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There is some truth to that. I started the nonprofit early, and it's definitely on my side. It's been a challenge to navigate doing all three of those things. So yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Um, well, we're coming up kind of to the end of our conversation, and I just want to one more time just invite you, in case there's something that you want to share with everybody before we kind of say goodbye.
No, I think we should all strive working towards the cause, and as much as we can, and make it happen, one day.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Yes.
I really want to thank you so much for uh, getting this podcast going on, so everybody has their points, and everybody comes up with the just sparkling points. Everyone has a spark.
Yes.
So they just get it together, and that will make it happen.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's been actually a real joy for me. I mean, when have we had the chance to sit down and talk like this? So
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
I know we all every now and then see each other, but the formalized conversation has given me a lot to think about, and just I've been telling some of the other guests that it's also nice to hear, because all of our struggles and all of our everything we face is very similar.
Yeah.
So rather than each one of us, kind of facing it in isolation, at least we all get to be connected.
We can
Uh,
fight together.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, great. Thank you again so much for being here today. And thank you all of you who are listening. Again, this is Let's Talk Kathak, and we have one more coming up next Tuesday. And it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.